Welcome to the Day 1 Podcast Extra. This is Peter Wallace, and with me today is the Reverend Dr. Thomas Lane Butts, Jr. For many years, since 1978, in fact, Tom has been one of the most popular preachers on the Protestant Hour and Day 1, I think 38 times, counting this latest time, something like that. Tom is Minister Emeritus of First United Methodist Church in Monroeville, Alabama. He served United Methodist churches in Alabama and West Florida for 48 years, retiring officially in 1998, but hardly a retiring type of person. Tom, thanks for being with us.
It's a real pleasure to be here, Peter. I'm glad to see you again.
Now, after 48 years of serving churches in Alabama and West Florida, including 4 years as a district superintendent, you retired in June of 1998, and you're now Minister Emeritus of First United Methodist Church in Monroeville. But what does a Minister Emeritus do?
I have a friend of mine who says that the Minister Emeritus is the one who tells the new minister which is the oil and which is the vinegar and why they won't mix. But really, the Minister Emeritus is a position of honor, and you try to be helpful to the minister. I always tell people I play utility infield for my pastor, and in my case, I do the counseling at our church, and when the minister's gone, I preach, and I attend to the hospitals and other pastoral duties in his absence. But I'm on the road a great deal of the time, preaching in other places, teaching. I stay busy most of the time.
And I love the fact you mentioned on the Day 1 program that you preach in a number of different kinds of churches: Episcopal, Methodist, Assemblies of God, Unitarian Universalist. But you're still you. How does that work, all these different sorts of churches?
You know, I've discovered that the gospel is the gospel, and if you present the gospel in some candid way to people, they accept it no matter where you do it, no matter what denomination it may be. And there's not that much difference between us anyway.
Mm-hmm. You have received degrees from Troy University, Emory University, and Northwestern University and Garrett Biblical Institute in Evanston, Illinois. You've also done a lot of teaching in several colleges: religion, psychology, and ethics. I take it you enjoy being in the academic world as well as in the church.
I do. It kind of tends to keep you sharp and keeps you in touch with the younger generation. And when you get to be my age, that takes some effort to stay in touch with the younger generation.
Well, do you still serve as a supervisor for doctoral students at Beeson School of Theology at Samford University?
Yes.
And what do you think about this generation of students?
Oh, I find some very bright young men and women who are going into the ministry. Not only do I do that for Beeson School of Theology, but I also am a mentor for about 5 young preachers. I think about 3 or 4 of them I am the official mentor, and then I have some others that I mentor unofficially. And I try to convey to them the few things that I've learned through the years, let them ask questions of me, and it feels good to be a part of these young men and women who are going into the ministry. At this end of my life, I think that's probably one of the most important things that I do.
You've had a number of literary connections in your life. Of course, Monroeville is the home of one of America's favorite authors, Miss Harper Lee, whom you know well. How would you describe Monroeville? Is it like the book?
Well, nothing is quite like the book because it was a novel. But Monroeville is a quaint little town. We are becoming a tourist town more and more, it seems, each year. And it's a town of about 7,000 people on a good day, and it's a wonderful place to live. Every time I drive into Atlanta, I remember why I love living in Monroeville, Alabama. The people there are loving and accepting for the most part. It's the kind of place where your doctor writes a prescription for you on the back of a napkin at the Wednesday night dinner, and everybody in town knows the minister, and it's just a good feeling, and I love living in a small town.
Another literary link: in November of 1996, part of one of your Protestant Hour sermons entitled The Seasons of Life was featured in the opening segment of the CBS miniseries In Cold Blood, the book of which was written by Truman Capote, who is also a local. How did that come about?
Well, it was very strange. I preached the Protestant Hour on Easter of 1996, and In Cold Blood was being remade by Pacific Motion Pictures, and somebody on the set heard that sermon. I don't even know who it was, but they traced me down all the way through Atlanta and into Monroeville and said they would like to use about 2 or 3 minutes of my sermon in the sermon that the minister was giving for the Clutter family in Cold Blood. And I ended up signing a contract with them for them to use part of my sermon. I was amused and honored by it.
Of course, you're a TV star in your own right, having appeared as a panelist on the Day1 TV segments that we produce for the Hallmark Channel, and which are now available to watch anytime on our website. How does it feel to be such a king of all media? Newspapers, TV, radio?
I love presenting the gospel in whatever ways are available to me to do it. And I enjoy being a part of the TV ministry that this program has had. But for many years when I was in Montgomery, the 11 o'clock worship service was televised. It changes how you preach, how you can't walk around a whole lot. You have to stand still. And I enjoy being on the radio. Then you don't have to worry about how you look. You can just talk.
Tom, thanks so much for visiting with us.
What a pleasure it is to be here, Peter. Thank you for inviting me.